Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is Anshad Ali, Department of Technology, Sarad University. Today we are going to learn about the Environmental Impact Assessment, EIA. This is our week 10th, lecture 10, 7th semester, 4th year, BSc Engineering Technology, Civil. You can access this lecture at portal.su.edu.wiki. So let's begin. What is meant by the environmental impact assessment? Environmental impact assessment is defined as an activity designed to identify impact on the bio-geophysical environment on man and well-being of legislative proposals, projects, policies, operational procedures, and to interpret and communicate information. Environmental impact assessment is a systematic process of identifying future consequences of a current or proposed action. Basically, environmental impact assessment is carried out to identify the factors related to the project and to the operation in the current scenario as well as in the future consequences. To identify the future consequences that include the climate, about the air, water, soils, geology, cultural heritage, social sciences, landscape, humans, aquatic ecology, terrestrial ecology, life sciences, earth sciences. This means to collect the data about these terms before the ongoing project or of the current or proposed action. Objective environmental impact assessment include to identify, predict, and evaluate the economic, environmental, and social impact of development and development activities. To provide information on the environmental consequences for decision making and to promote environmental sound and sustainable development through the identification of appropriate alternatives and mitigation measures. Environmental impact assessment is widely accepted as a tool to ensure sustained development with minimum environmental degradation. Environmental impact statement and the content of environmental impact statement. Environmental impact statement should contain the following information or data: description of proposed action, construction operation in shutdown phase, and selection of alternatives to the proposed action, nature and magnitude of likely environmental effects, possibility of earthquakes and cyclones, possible effect on surface and groundwater quality, soil and air quality, effects on vegetation, wildlife and endangered species, economic and demographic factors, identification of relevant human concern, noise pollution, efficient use of inputs, recycling and reduction of waste, risk analysis, disaster management. Now we are going to learn about the methodology of the environmental impact assessment. How can you achieve and conduct environmental impact assessment? Whenever a new project is planned which is likely to affect environmental quality, it is necessary to carry out environmental impact assessment. For example, if there is any butcher house has been constructed near the residential area, so you know that probably there will be some environmental issues to the adjacent residence. So you need to carry out environmental impact assessment. The first step in environmental impact assessment method is to determine whether the project under consideration follows the jurisdiction of the relevant acts and regulation, and if so, whether it is likely to create a significant environmental disruption. If so, an environmental impact assessment is undertaken and environmental impact statement is prepared. In many countries, environmental impact statement is open to public scrutiny and is reviewed at public hearings. Finally, a political decision is taken that the development project may be accepted with amendment, and alternative proposal accepted or rejected. Environmental impact assessment process. Guiding principle. The entire process of environmental impact assessment is governed by 8 guiding principles, which are participation, transparency, certainty, accountability, credibility, cost effectiveness, flexibility, practicality. Now the participants in environmental impact assessment. Who will participate in environmental impact assessment? Proponent, mainly government or private agencies, decision maker, designated individual or group, designated, assessor or evaluator, agency responsible for the preparation of environmental impact statement, reviewer, individual, agency, or may be conducted by the board, expert advisor, media and public environmental organization. Now, environmental impact assessment process is a sequence of application. Stakeholder involvement. Stakeholder involvement occurs in various stages of environmental impact assessment to ensure quality, efficiency, and effectiveness. Project screening and scoping. Determine necessity of environmental impact assessment requirement. Describe various screening criteria. Scoping determines coverage or scope of environmental impact assessment. Project design and construction. Type of project under consideration. Physical dimension of area being considered. Whether the resources will be used optically. Whether there is permanent commitment of the land. Whether the project is critical phase of large development. Whether there will be serious environmental disruption during construction. What are the long-term plans of the promoter? Project operation. What provisions have been made to check the safety equipment regularly? How will the hazardous waste products be handled? What are the possibility plans developed to handle the possible accidents? What provisions have been made for training the employees for environmental protection? What plans have been made for environmental monitoring? Site characteristics. Whether the site is susceptible to floods, earthquake, and other natural disasters. Each and every aspect of the project has been observed. And you have to prepare environmental impact statement and include these characteristics, these processes and sequence of applications. Whether the terrain is creating problems and predicting groundwater characteristics and air pollution or etc. Whether the local environment is conducive for the success of the project. How many people are likely to be displaced because of the project? In case of the dam, construction of the dam, as you know, when Tarbela dam has been made, a lot of people have been displaced from that area. What are the main attributes and protein content, flow, calorie content, wheat or pest status, carnivoreness, variety of species of the local fauna and flora, whether the project will be interfere with the movement of fish pollution, populations and important migratory animals, whether historic sites are likely to be endangered because of the project. Possible environmental impacts. What are the possible short-term as well as the long-term environmental impacts? Who will be affected because of these impacts? Animal, flora, fauna, humans, environment, mitigation measures, design system to avoid, reduce, minimize adverse impacts, enhance beneficial outcomes, monitoring and auditing measures, identify impacts that require monitoring and auditing. Socio-economic factors. What are the expected gainers and losers by the project? Who will get benefits and who will not get the benefits? We are the expected trade-offs. Will the project interfere with the existing inequalities between occupational and age groups? Will it affect the pattern of local, regional, and national culture? Availability of information resources. Whether local and outside experts are available to consult specific impacts of the project. Whether the relevant guidelines, technical information, and other publications are available to identify the possible impacts of similar projects. Whether the relevant environmental standards by laws are considered, whether the sources of relevant environmental data are identified, and whether they are accessible, whether the views of the specialized groups and general public regarding the project have been considered, whether the competent technical manpower is available to handle the project's environmental impact assessment report and review. Complete information and report, as we learned previous slide. This report, including non-technical summary, methodologies used, results, interpretation, and conclusion, review, assess adequacy of issues, and facilitate decision-making process. Now, finally, the decision has been made. The decision-making process. The project may be accepted with alterations, or rejected. Importance of the environmental impact assessment. Environmental impact assessment is potentially a useful component of good environmental management. Whenever a project has been proposed, the first step is to conduct the environmental impact assessment. Whether this project will affect the environment in the short term as well as in the long term. If so, then this project will be rejected, or some amendment has been made, or totally rejected. It is the government policy that any industrial project has to obtain environmental impact assessment clearance from the Ministry of the Environment before approval by the Planning Commission. So this shows the importance of the environmental impact assessment. So this is it for today's. Inshallah, next class we will learn about the political, economical, and technological consideration of the environmental project. So thank you so much. If you have any query regarding today's lecture, you can ask me at the portal.zoom.pk. Take care.